I had those trials and tribulations when I was young. I have a very appropriate fear of living the way I was raised. I felt really, really, really bad for my mom when she couldn't afford things. And I'm not talking about afford like expensive things. I mean food, gas in the car, $10 cleats. I felt really bad for her. I was very proud of her, how hard she worked. I had a lot of empathy for her. It looked like to me she felt helpless. I didn't want her to feel that way. And that was part of I want to make money to take care of her. That was a big part of it too. Even at a young age, before I even had kids or whatever, I'm like, I'm gonna take care of my mom.
All right, welcome to True Talk. Got a special guest with me in the studio today, President of FFL, Shawn Meaike.
How you doing, Mike?
Awesome, dude. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks for having me, dude. Great studio.
Dude, we're trying a little bit of an improvement from the first True Talk.
It's a lot of an improvement the first time we did the Ustream on the laptops and hosted our meetings like that.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember how this podcast started?
No.
It was a little record. I forget what you used to call them, the little recorders.
Dictaphone.
Yeah. I remember the first time you said it to me, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying.
Bro. We see this at Steady Connected all the time. They like record your interview with the client with a dictaphone.
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but that's what we had.
Yeah.
And here we are now in this crazy studio. But I appreciate you taking out some time. What I wanted to talk about with you, Shawn, is, you are a salesman to your core. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Would you say that getting into sales changed your life?
Yeah, it changed my life completely.
What were you doing before you got into sales?
So, I went to college to play baseball, because my mother told me I had to go to college. I wasn't excited to go to school, to be honest with you. And I was a business major. So weirdly enough, I was like, you know what, man, maybe I want to be a businessman. I don't really know anything about it. I really don't know anybody that knows anything about it. I've had some coaches that I watched. They were successful people.
Yeah.
Cool, that looked good. I knew a coach that had a real estate company, another coach that had a financial planning company, another coach that actually ran a property management company. So I was like, that actually looks like a pretty decent career. Let me try that. And I was a business major for like a semester.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, man, I went to my economics professor, and I was like, listen, I don't like this. And I remember she said, what don't you like about it? And I was like, with all due respect, like, none of you are business people.
Yeah.
Like, you're my economics teacher, my accountant teacher, my business. None of you are in business, and that doesn't mean you don't. But I really want to be in a major where the people teaching me are doing it. And what's cool about that was she had been teaching forever. She said, if that's the way you feel, then why don't you find an industry or a major that matches up where the people are in the industry and they're teaching? And I said, what would you recommend?
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know how you feel about social work, but all of the professors here, the social work department, they're all social workers. Like, they're working in the field somewhere. They just teach here in addition to working. And I was like, all right, like, why not? So the next semester I took a couple of electives and I was like, dude, I kind of like this. Like, human behavior was cool. The people they were coming in from their job. I remember the dude, I had this guy, Professor Nilsson, he was cool, but he would tell us like his real life stuff.
Yeah.
So he was like, here's what I did at my job. Here's how I do this. Here's how I work in parole, probation. My other guy was doing a caseworker. So when I was in college, it's weird. I decided, well, I'll just go get a job as a social worker. Like, that's my degree. So I graduated from college. And
prior to that, you had no interest in social work?
No, dude, when I tell you I had no plan of going to college, my plan was to join the Marines.
Okay.
So I'm 17. I go to the Connecticut Armory in London, Connecticut. I take my ASVAB test. They're like, you scored good. You can do what you want. I'm like, well, I want to be a Marine. That's what I want to do. I'm 17 years old, and I'm graduating from high school.
Yeah.
And at the time, I needed my mom to sign. I was 17.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm going to go in the Marines. And she's like, no, you're going to college. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to college. I really don't have any desire to go to college. And then my mom's a salesman. She was like, well, do you want to play sports? And I was like, yeah. I mean, do I get to keep playing sports? She's like, go play baseball in college. Like, you're good enough to play baseball in college. She's like, I don't know about football, but like, you can definitely go play baseball in college. So I have all these letters from people that want you to play baseball for them. I'm like, I don't have any money.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, a lot of them say that it doesn't really cost anything. So I started calling the people, and I was like, actually, a friend of mine's dad, he was like, hey, man, Mike's going to this JUCO, his junior college in Rhode Island. And I'm like, why are you calling me? I'm like, you trying to get me to go there with him to help him go there? I don't know. Like, I was like, so we kind of went up there together as a recruiting visit, and their coach was like, yeah, dude, I know you both really well, and the baseball program we were in high school was very successful, and I played really well. So he's like, why don't you come here and go to school? And I'm like, what's it cost me? He's like, nothing. And I was like, shit, all right, I'll come up here for nothing. And So I went to and at JUCO I was a business major there, but honestly the classes were like, did you show up? Yes, A. And then when I went to Eastern, it was a 4-year school, is when I transitioned to social work. But I wasn't want to think about a job at that time. I was just kind of like, dude, I'm playing baseball, I'm having fun, life's pretty good. I had my jobs because even though school was free, I still had to pay for my food outside of campus. I had a car. So I had a job. I used to work at UPS in the morning. So I would get up in the morning, work until class or baseball practice. So it was a long day because I needed to have a job. My mom didn't have any money. I'm like, I can't ask her for any money. And so I was a social work major. I had never thought about being a social worker. And now graduation is coming up upon me. I'm like, dude, I guess I'm going to be a social worker.
Yeah.
I'm going to have
you liked it enough to stay with it.
Yeah, dude, I liked it because the people were – I liked it because it was real.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to love being a social worker, but I'm like, dude, these people are real people making a difference in people's lives. I definitely want to make an impact in people's lives.
Okay.
So even if I was in business, I'm like, I want to do something where I
make
make
a difference. You knew that
from
how early on?
Just watching my mom and the way she was treated. I always wanted to give back and do right by people and work hard. And so I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to find an industry where, I feel good about what I'm doing, And so I'm graduating. Buddy of mine, Mike, he's like, hey, dude, I'm taking the police exam. And I'm like, police exam? And he's like, yeah, you want to be a police officer? I'm like, well, hell, I've been arrested a bunch of times. You know what I mean? Maybe I should give it.
You thought you had some experience.
So I've got some experience on the other side. I've been in handcuffs, found a car for drinking, fighting. And so I started it was weird too because I didn't really ever want the job. So I was we went down to the physical test, the written test, and also I was getting these letters. And I'm like, dude, did you get any letters? He's like, no, I didn't get any. And he was like, straight as I was like, dude, how am I getting letters? You probably scored the same as me.
Letters offers for jobs?
Interviews.
Oh, interviews.
So interviews.
Okay.
But I'm like, dude, I got them all. I got Groton, I got Old Saybrook, I got Waterford, and Atlantic, and East. I'm like, where are yours?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I must have scored a lot higher than you on the test, dude. You must be dumb. So I started having these interviews, and it's funny because I totally didn't care if I had the job because I was working at UPS now driving, so I had a job, but I'm like, I don't know that I want to do that forever.
Okay.
And then so I remember I was at I was at an interview in Groton, Connecticut, and the guy was like, he's like, got this folder, and he's like, have you been here before? I'm like, been here in what way? And he kind of laughed. I go, I've actually spent the weekend in there over in the holding cell. And he's like, yeah, man, you've been arrested. I said, yeah, I got a fight with a couple guys at the ball field. And he's like, yeah, dude, we can't hire you. And I was like, don't you all check that before the interview?
Right.
And he just kind of laughed. He goes, I guess we should have. He was super cool. He's like, I'm sorry, man. You seem like a great guy. And I ended up getting a job at Old Saybrook Police Department. And I was like, dude, they offered me a job? And I wasn't really that fired up about it.
Okay.
To be honest with you. It wasn't like it was bad. I just was like, that was just never on my radar.
Yeah.
And going through the police academy was great life experience. I was way too excited, way too fired up. I thought it was on TV. And I was really pumped up. And my field training officer, his name was Charlie. And he said to me, hey, dude, you're never going to make it, right? And I'm like, what? He's like, you're just way too amped up, dude. It's not what you think it is. He said, you're going to spend a lot of time being bored. And Old Saybrook's not a very...
Yeah, it's not much going on there.
It's Old Saybrook. So it's he's like, you're going to be bored a lot. And then sometimes you're going to have stuff going on. And so I was there for and I just knew. And they have a very big hierarchy kind of deal. So the guys would yell at you. And I'm like, dude, I know your dad's the deputy chief, but... don't yell at me. You know what I mean?
I gotta imagine that didn't sit well
I
with
can,
you.
No, you're a man and I'm a man. I can smack the taste out of your mouth. Don't get in my face and yell at me. So it just really, it was a bad fit. And then I went out to some incidents, domestic violence we had to go to, and having been raised by what my mom went through, I was probably way too hyper vigilant. So yeah, I was a little bit too crazy. And so we think you need to go somewhere else. And I was like, all right. And then a buddy of mine was working as a social worker, Department of Children and Families, weirdly enough. And he just called me out of the blue, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, lo and behold, I think I just got fired this morning. I'm not even really sure. I think they said I got to go in a different direction. I finished police academy. I was like, I don't know, man. I'm like, what do you? And he's like, dude, I'm working with abused and neglected children. And I was like, shit, I've always wanted to work with kids. I knew that too. Growing up the way I grew up, I think I wanted to help people not have to deal with a lot of stuff that me and my brother went through. Yeah. So I was like, shit, let me go check that out. And went over for the interview. You talk about sports, the guy, Rich, who's a super great guy, who's the boss of my boss, he's like, hey, do you play sports? And I was like, yeah. He's like, are you any good at basketball? And I'm like, define good. I'm probably better than most of you guys. I'm athletic, but at the time I was real young. So I was like, I'm pretty good. And he's like, we have a traveling basketball team. Will you be on it? And I'm like, am I hired? And he's like, yeah, you got a degree. And I was like, okay. So before I knew it, I was a social worker and I was on their traveling basketball team. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And we weren't really good, but the whole league was not very good. And dude, I started working there, man. I fell in love with it.
Yeah. What made you fall in love with it?
The kids.
Yeah.
And the families. I think I understood them a lot, having gone through what I went through as a kid. I think I had a compassion and empathy for them, but I also had the ability to be very honest with the families.
Yeah.
And very and I think it was challenging because I was young. So I'm, early 20s, no kids, and I'm in there like trying to help them, and you're training 6 weeks. It's book training. It's like you can't really do like role play training for social work. You can't go pretend to knock on doors and see kids being abused, neglected. Like you really can't role play it out. So it's kind of like, here's your books, you're done, now go to work. So it was a challenge every day. Fell in love with my job. I did know that I wanted to do more. So I was probably in my 5th year. And I had a guy named Jim Belisle who ran my entire office. And I started at that time. I was gotten real estate early, but I was just like messing around with
real estate?
My mom got a real estate license when I was probably 9 or 8. And that was like the most excited I ever seen my mom. And she was really fired up about it. She got some new clothes. She was like, we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And our neighbors were actually just asses, honestly, very negative. And my mom was big on, like, if you told her something wouldn't work, she was big on listening to you.
Okay.
So they'd be like, your neighbor, I'm like, she don't know anything. She don't even have a job. Like, why is she
they
yelling?
Influenced it.
Big time. My mom quit after like a couple months. And I remember I was like, damn, because I was so excited for her. So then I think I just got a real estate license to get one. I was like, my mom didn't do good at it, but screw you, I'll do good at it. And I got it, and I was still working my job. So I was doing that, and I was building houses, and I was just doing some stuff on the side because I wanted to make extra money.
Yeah.
But I don't think at that time I was like, oh my God, I want to be in sales, or I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to be independent. I'm like, I just want to supplement my income.
Okay.
And then Jim sat me down. I was in I was getting to be now my late 20s. And he said, man, I think I'm going to fire you. And I was like, fire me, dude. I'm like the best person you got in this whole place, I was really good at my job. I was honest with the people. They could send me into any situation, no matter how volatile it was or whatever it was, and I could figure stuff out, get answers. I was great with kids. And he said, not because you're not great at it, Shawn. He said, because you want more. He said, I've been working here my whole life. And it was just like really cool conversation because he was basically saying, hey, man, I've been doing this forever. And
how old was he roughly?
40-something.
Okay.
Mid-40s.
Yeah.
So I was in, and maybe almost 50, probably closer to 50, because I think he retired, maybe 10 years later. And I'm like, are you, like, I always thought that was cool, because I was like, you're saying that maybe if you had had the chance, you would have gone and done something else, because he's a super smart guy, and he was great with people, great dude. And I'm like, huh. So he's like, Shawn, I'm being serious, man. I think you really need to take a look at this thing. He said, I'm going to do you a favor. He said, I'm going to ask for them to accept you as a transfer to the hotline in Hartford.
Okay.
You're a worker. You can work 3rd shift there, run your company and the real estate stuff you're doing during the day, and then see if you want to make a transition.
Yeah.
He's like, would that bother you? I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, I don't need to sleep.
You were on what shift at that point?
First shift.
First shift.
So I was first shift. So I'd be like noontime. I'd have plumbers and electricians in the parking lot. He's like, bro, we're not running a real estate company here. And I was like, I know, but it's lunchtime.
Right,
He's like,
I am.
I know. But he was like, dude, and you know what he said to me? He goes, your peers don't like it. I go, what's it got to do with them? He goes, nothing. It has nothing to do with them. He said, but that's how people are.
Yep.
They're mad that you're doing something. He's like, and I don't want to hear them bitch, moan, and complain about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, he did that. I'd go to work. I mean, I never worked that hard in my life. I was working 3rd shift. I get done, clean up real quick, go to work during the day. And I'd get a couple hours at night.
You kids yet?
So I'm just getting to the point of having kids.
Okay.
So I love sales and real estate, love sales and new home construction, love negotiating when I was buying the land, love negotiating with the contractors. Yeah. I really loved it. But I still have my job.
Okay.
And I didn't leave my job until my mid-30s. So I did that for quite some time up there. And then I actually took a leave for a year and then eventually left. But yes, sales changed my life because, well, first of all, when I was a social worker, I was in sales. You know, my job, I'm sitting down with a family, and the state of Connecticut said, here are the rules. And if you do these things, your kid's going to be removed from your home. I'm selling you on why you should stop doing those things.
Yeah.
If I got a 15-year-old kid who's like, you know, acting out because his situation's not been great, I'm selling him on, dude, I hear you, and I understand that, and I know the hand you've been dealt. But guess what? If you keep doing this, you're going to end up in a shelter. And if you end up in a shelter, it's going to be in a bunch of adult men because of your age. They're meaner than you. They're stronger than you. You're not going to like it. Like, I was in sales early on.
Yeah.
But when I got into sales full-time, no job, you know, early to mid-30s, dude, everything changed in my life.
Yeah.
Everything.
What did you said you loved sales. What did you love about sales, even going back to the real estate days?
I love competing.
Yeah.
The thing I missed about playing ball was the competition.
Yeah.
I love competing. I love leaderboards. The first time I was in real estate and I went to a regional event, I was like, I'll never forget. I was at William Ravis and I was like, there's my name. And it wasn't like, oh my God, there's my name. It was like, we get to compete. Like, I'm ninth. Who would have made people in front of me? Like, I get to compete here. So no helmet, no baseball bat. I can do this for as long as I want. I got to be at the top of that leaderboard. Sales, dude, and the competition of it was the juice for me.
Yeah.
Is the juice for me.
And you did real estate sales for how long?
Man, I got my real estate license for like 15 years.
Yeah. Well, prior to getting into sales, what was your best year income-wise, do you remember?
In real estate, every time I made money, I bought a property.
Okay. No, prior to that, before you even got into real estate.
Oh, God. I mean, dude, you understand my police, my job there paid me $38,000 a year.
Yeah.
My state job, social work, paid me $48,000, no overtime. So my best year before I made any sales at all was probably state of Connecticut, boatload overtime, $92,000 a year.
Got it.
But a boatload overtime.
Yeah, you're working your ass off.
I work my ass off.
So it was like it was rewarding from what you were doing, but not financially rewarding.
It wasn't rewarding when you looked at a return on investment.
Yeah.
So, like, if you were to ask me, man, is that good money at your age to make $90,000? I was like, yeah, but not to work 80 hours a week to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think I was also really afraid to be broke.
Yeah.
One of the gifts that God gave me was multiple gifts he gave me in my life, and he continues to gift me on a daily basis and bless me. But is that I had those trials and tribulations when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very appropriate fear of living the way I was raised.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to I felt really, really, really bad for my mom when she couldn't afford things. And I'm not talking about afford like expensive things. I mean food, like gas in the car, $10 cleats. Like I'm saying, like, she couldn't. And I never wanted my kid. I felt really bad for her. Not like I looked down. I was very proud of her, how hard she worked. I just, like, I had a lot of empathy for her.
Yeah.
And it looked like to me she felt helpless. And I never wanted, first of all, I didn't want her to feel that way. And that was part of I want to make money to take care of her. Yeah. That was a big part of it too. Even at a young age, before I even had kids or whatever, I'm like, I'm going to take care of my mom.
Got it.
So.
In sales, I mean, it's one of the things you taught me early on is you control your income, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you work at the state, you don't control how much you get paid unless you work over, but even then you're capped, right?
Correct.
But in sales, whatever you do or don't do is based on your efforts, which, I think for me, that was always my favorite thing about it. If I failed, it was on me. Correct. And if I had success, it was on me, which some people can't deal with. But I feel like you being as competitive as you were, did that attract you?
Yeah, I've always been accountable. Like, I screw something up, I screw it up. Yeah. I mean, like, that's if it's my job to do and it wasn't done, I didn't do the job. Yeah. Like, it's my fault. I want a big finger pointer. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you missed. It was my tackle to make. I missed it. Yeah. It was my ball to catch. I missed it. You know, I was supposed to be there on time. I didn't show up. Like, I wasn't, like, that wasn't weird to me. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that was a big part of it. I liked that. But I liked, I think weirdly enough, I never realized this until recently. I think athletically, what bothered me, and I think it's fair to say bothered me. When you play ball, as you move up levels, eventually you get to a place where there's like, you're in high school, you're in college, maybe you're at a high level, but then once you start getting these real small, like funnel, dudes are just different. When they hit the ball, you don't need to see him hit it, Like I could walk through a batting cage now, and if a dude swings and he's a different dude, I can tell. By the contact, I got to see it. If you get a football dude and he's walking up and down the sidelines, he don't even see, he's seen that ball. He's like, a dude threw that ball. Like that's a different kind of, and I think for me, I'm like, man, I remember my college coach, I said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to play professional baseball. He's like, dude, you're 6 foot tall. You don't run fast. You don't hit for power. You throw the ball 90 miles an hour, which a lot of people do. You're a really good player who has no chance to make a lot of money playing this game. And I just remember looking at him like, okay, that dude's 6'6", but he's not better than me, but he's 6'6". Yeah. And I think when I got into business, I was like, wait a minute. There is no, like, as much as my talent took me where it took me, no talent's required here.
Right.
So, like, wait a minute. I worked my ass off playing ball, and I would literally, like, run through a wall to win a game. But I still had what I had. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't, that's why when I played linebacker, they're like, why do you keep holding people? I'm like, they're fucking faster than me. And when I hold them and they get out on the sidelines, it's a 15-yard penalty. If I cover them without holding them, it's a touchdown. Why don't you come cover them? You're fast.
Lesser of two evils.
Who put me out there? Like, how the hell I get isolated on that dude? Like, he's too fast for me, bro. You know who I am. And I think here I was like, this is the greatest level playing field called accountability, called winning that I've ever seen in my life, because business – I think I assumed when I was a kid that people doing well or wealthy had a talent. Yeah. And I always thought, I wonder what that talent is. And one day when I get older, I'll see, like, what talent did my mom, and it's like my mom did not possess. My mom just was a young mom who ended up with 2 kids who, like, was raising them by herself with no educational experience. She just got dealt the hand she got dealt. It wasn't because she did the best she could do. And I'm very, very proud of what she's done. She always says, like, when you share that stuff, I'm like, I share it because I'm proud of you.
Right.
I don't share it because, like, I'm really proud of what you've done. You know what I mean? Because she'll watch it. So I got to say, like, and I do mean it. I am proud of it.
Well, it's much harder to do it in that environment than when you come from a silver spoon.
There's no doubt if my mom had come, so I do think that. So I guess for me, I confused, we didn't have that background or that much, and I assumed there's a talent. I wonder what my coach, and not all, but some of the coaches I had were very successful businessmen, which is why they coached. They had time.
Right.
They're like, I'll coach my son's team. I have time. The guys that work a job, 8 to 5 or 6 can't coach.
Right.
They ain't got no time. So I happen to be around a lot of business people because of the time they had. They could travel with us, go to tournaments. And I think as I got around them, I was like, damn, there's no talent. So, when I saw a leaderboard that I knew that every company I worked at, that there should be no reason I wasn't number 1 at that company. Not number 2, not number 5, number 1.
Yeah.
There was no no matter. And I liked when it got bigger. When I was at Remax, small leaderboard, small office, Southeastern County. Oh, there's a state leaderboard. Cool. Okay, God, I'm not number 1. I'm down here.
Yeah.
Boom, I get number 1 at state leaderboard. Hey, there's a regional leaderboard. Shit, what am I on that one? And there's a national leaderboard. And, dude, I love that shit.
So would you say that motivated you more than the money behind it?
Yeah, because in real estate, I loved being a social worker. Real estate to me was kind of like social work.
Okay.
You got to work with people in their finances. I didn't work with a lot of really wealthy people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but a lot of mine were first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to help them navigate the process. You'd be like, dude, don't take that loan with that guy. Look at this fine print. That's going to blow up. Don't do it. And I'd be like, dude, don't do that to him. That was wrong. And I was like, I was doing a social work. I told you the truth.
Yeah.
They'd be like, well, you can't do that. I'm like, I just did it. Like, look what you were going to have him sign. Don't sign that shit. I wouldn't do that. That's awful. He made 3 more points on it. That's why he jacked up your rate.
Right.
Like, I had no problem doing that. My manager would be like, did you? I'm like, yes, Mrs. Palmer. She's a lot older. I always called her Mrs. Palmer. And she was like 70 when I started. And I'm like, yes, Mrs. Palmer, I did. But, like, this is what they were doing to the client.
Yeah.
So I think, for me, it was, I wanted to help people. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to compete. And I knew the money was going to come, but I was never trying to be free to get rich. I wanted to be free to be free.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be broke. There's a big difference. People are like, I was just running from being broke. I wasn't running to being wealthy. I was
What
running
was being
from being
free to you at that point?
that I could make decisions that did not. I could make my own decisions without worrying about money.
Okay.
That if my kid was playing a tournament on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I didn't have to go to my boss and ask for time off. If my son was like, hey, man, I'm going here, me and my buddies, and it cost me a couple $100 for a tournament, I didn't have to go like, oh, damn, do I have a couple $100? That was free. It wasn't about buying all this stuff. It was like making decisions in life to give my kids the life I wanted them to have without going, can I afford that? Now, they weren't asking for astronomical things.
Right.
But can I do that? Dad, I'd love to go to this park. Okay, I didn't want to go like, wait a minute, that's going to be $402. And then I know either time. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I just didn't. So that was free to me, dude.
Got it. You also, I know this because I've obviously known you for 15 years now, but something that I think is really important to you was getting clean and sober, which you did right before your first child was born.
Correct.
Right? How did you make that decision at that point, and how much has that, I guess, kind of steered your life and success afterwards?
Well, I wouldn't have achieved, any of it. I mean, and I say this because it's true. God got me sober. Like I tried to get sober.
Yeah.
A lot. Like I knew I had a problem. And the story of how I got sober is a longer story for a different day, but I just surrendered. I was like, dude, I'm tired. Like, this sucks. Like, I'm tired of being this way. I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget where I was standing, when it happened, the day. And it was just like I got you. I was like, all right, because I ain't got me. I was like, it's like, yeah, no, I know you ain't got you. I got you. And I'll never forget. I just said, I remember I got the guys I was traveling with. We were flying back to Connecticut that night, and we do during the day. They're like, I'm like, dude, I'm good. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, I'm done. I'm done drinking, no drugs. I'm done. I'm done. Like, I'm done. And of course they're like, no, you're not. You're just saying that. I'm like, dude, I'm done. And I've never, I wouldn't have achieved what I've achieved if I wasn't sober. Now, again, some people can drink. Yeah. I can't. I'm not one of them. Right. Some people guess they can smoke weed and be functional. I'm not one of them. Some can use cocaine and be functional. I'm not one of them. I didn't do it half-assed.
Right.
I was all in. I didn't. I'd
you were big on moderation.
No, I'd go to dinner and see people have a couple of drinks. I'm like, why are they only having a couple of drinks? Like, what are they waiting for? Like, did they run out of booze? Like, did the waiter, can he not give him something else to drink? I couldn't fathom it. Yeah. So for me, it was, and I told you when we first met, I was like, if I start drinking, quit.
Yeah.
And I wanted that accountability. I needed that. I was big on that, man. That I was working at the state when I got sober.
Yeah.
And yeah, Savannah hadn't, her mom wasn't even pregnant. We were just talking about having it, but I'm like, I'm not bringing, and I didn't want to recreate what I had been through either. Yeah. I just didn't. And I didn't want to, be at a family function beating the crap out of my uncle or my brother, or I just didn't want to be. And, and it was, that was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And, I'll have 25 years coming up, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you. And so it's great, man. It's definitely life-changing. Yeah. But yeah, and I think that was the thing when there was a guy named Mike Rooney in my office in the state of Connecticut, and he had been sober well before me. Dude, great guy. And I remember he said to me, always, keep the right people around you. So I had him. He hooked me up with a couple other guys because I needed them to help me be accountable. Right. And that's why I said, when I used to do it at the state, then he's like, when you run your companies, do the same thing. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, just tell them if you're going to start drinking again to quit. And I knew I was day by day, but it was still like, dude, I'm not playing with y'all. Like,
that's one of the first things you told me.
Yeah, run for the hills. Right. Run for the hills. We won't be open long. Yep. So,
you talk about being in the right vehicle a lot, like especially in a lot of your content, which is huge, right? You've tried tons of different vehicles, right? Yeah. And even from a sales standpoint, obviously insurance being the most lucrative, right? Talk about that transition, because you were in real estate, still working at the state, and you were buying a property, looking at a property. How did you get turned on to life insurance?
So I was looking at a property in Yantic Street in Norwich. I think it was 259, 261 Yantic Street. My memory serves me correctly. guy named Jim Godwin was the real estate. I think he was a broker, not just an agent, and he was the listing agent. And I wanted to buy the property for myself as one of my rental properties and keep it as a great property. And it was a process, man. He was representing the seller. I think the seller was the chief of police, if I remember correctly. And he was like a family friend. And then he just said to me one day, we were like waiting for somebody to show up. I don't know who it was, appraiser or somebody. And he said, after all this, we've seen each other 3-4 times. He said, are you keeping your options open to make some extra money? And I was like, yeah, it depends on what it is. Mm-hmm. And he's like, everything about selling life insurance? I'm like, no, I don't even know anything about life insurance. And I just had never thought about it. So I said, no, I've never thought about it. And he gave me like a spiel. And I was like, yeah, Jim, I hear you, but I'm doing pretty good. Like, real estate's been good to me. Like, I love it. And he said, would it make a difference if I told you we had leads? And I was like, yeah, well, we don't have leads in real estate. So that would make a difference, but I have to see them. Like, are they real leads? Yeah. And you understand, there wasn't like social media the way it is now. Right. We had it, but the people weren't printing leads off of it.
We were talking, what, 07, 08? 08.
So real estate market crashes. I'm still doing pretty good. Rental market did really well. Okay. So I was doing pretty good. I was buying stuff cheaper. Like, I wasn't really like panicked about it. Yeah. Except it was a lot of work. It wasn't real passive income because, people are like, it's passive. No, not when you're showing up to collect rent, fix people's, frigging light sockets and make sure their frigging sink's not linking and then tell this one to keep the music down. This one doesn't like it. That's not passive. That's active. You're working for your income. And he said, just get your license. What do you have to lose? I got my license and the rest is history.
Yeah. And the leads were such a game changer for you, right? And real estate, where were you getting most of your clients? Word of mouth or market?
Dude, I stopped buying leads. In real estate, you're talking about that long ago, they were $100 a piece.
Really?
Yeah. They were internet leads, and they were terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, terrible. And it would just be somebody went online. And again, obviously, marketing online today compared to what they knew then was apples and oranges. Obviously, I don't know there's any really good lead source electronically then anyway, digitally. But they were terrible. And I just like stopped. I was like, this is terrible. This is not working at all. Yeah. I got to stop. And so that was all word of mouth. It was what they called the sphere of influence. Like, who do you know? And then who does he know? And I did pretty well. I knew everybody. Yeah. And I did good by my clients. Yeah. So they were like, and I had the courage that they'd put a new complex up. Somebody's getting ready to build it. They pull a building permit or they're just getting ready to develop land. I'd show up. And I'd be like, here's who I am. Here's what I do. You want to list the whole project with me? And there'd be people who would show up with 4 or 5 agents and some big brokerage with this big, they'd have this big presentation. I'd be like, dude, I'll sell more of them than them. Mm-hmm. I'll just tell you that. Like, here's what I'll do. And I did well, man, but we didn't have leads. And I think the thing for me was I could make money in real estate. I've never taught anybody to do it, though. Okay. Because I just think I knew a lot of people, and I was not afraid to talk to people. Yeah. So I knew a lot of people, and I had zero fear to talk to people. And I think a lot of people that would get a real estate license that would come in, even though they weren't really on my team, they were there. I could never, they just wouldn't do it. Like, they'd know one person.
You couldn't duplicate what you were doing.
No. But when I saw the leads, I was like, dude, I can get anybody to make money doing this. Yeah. Literally.
That's what I was going to ask. So, you got into insurance. You were doing it part-time. You were selling, making some money. At what point did you think, well, shit, this could be for people other than myself? I could bring some people with me because you couldn't for so long.
Well, dude, you were one of the first people I hired. Yeah. I mean, your wife did my banking at the bank. Your wife's bilingual. Yeah. So I was like, would you be? And I was like, she was a worker. So like when I went to the bank, I didn't have to she did her job, and I liked it. I was like, I would wait in the line. I was really busy. I'd be, putting rent money in, taking this one out, paying a contract. I was there all the time. Yeah. Because it wasn't like it is. You couldn't get on your phone and do all this stuff. Right. So you went to the bank. I know it freaks y'all out. You would drive to the bank. You would get out of the car. You'd bring your check. It was weird, right? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't weird for us now. Now it's like, dude, this is so weird. It took, 2 hours a day of my week, 5 days a week. And it was funny because I never, when I asked your wife, hey, would you all be interested? Do you know anybody be interested? Do you have anybody be interested? I wasn't counting the overrides. Yeah. I was like, it seems like it kind of sucks to work here. Mm-hmm. The managers there, they were a pain in the ass.
Knowing her, she probably told you it.
She did. She was no joke. She was pretty aggressive. Yeah. So I'm like, you can't like working here. She's like, I really don't. Yeah. And then I knew you were a contractor. So I was like, I was a contractor. Maybe due to work with me, maybe not. So I'm like, just come to this meeting that we're holding. But Mike, then it wasn't about, and then when I met you, and then we did meetings at your house, all it was to me was you were human beings trying to find a better way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were human beings that, listen, you didn't come from any money.
Nope.
Y'all are trying to figure your shit out. You're looking at me like, can we really do this?
Right.
And I'm like, you definitely can. I'm like, y'all are smart. You, Fernando, what was his brother's name?
Hector.
I mean, we had a great group. Dude, it's like, and I'm like, they're just good people trying to make a living, dude.
Yeah.
You know, so I think for me, I fell in love with the fact that we can help people first. And then, then I saw the power of like, wow, we can help a lot of people.
Right.
And yes, if we help a lot of people, I can make some money doing that too. I think when it's about helping people first, the money will come.
Yeah.
I think if it's about helping you and only you and your money and your money and your money and your money, because I structured my companies where it didn't help me for years. I didn't make money in real estate for years. I didn't make money in waste management for years. I didn't make money in life insurance for years.
Right.
It wasn't. I was like, dude, let's just build something pretty badass and see where it goes.
Yeah. One of the things I realized or noticed about you early on was I feel like you see things in people they don't see in themselves, right? And I experienced that with you because when I first met you, I wasn't even supposed to go to that meeting. Christina was supposed to go with a coworker who backed out. And she's like,
God is good. Dude.
Last minute, can you go with me? I'm like, and dude, it was a different day back then. I'm like, no, I'm trying to finish my joint and watch the game and do like I worked all day. And she's like, no, come on. So I got dragged to this meeting. I probably showed up like this and everyone's in suits and stuff. But after hearing you talk, you said a lot. There's a couple of things you said. One of them was, I'll do anything to take care of my kids. I didn't have kids at the time, but I had siblings that I played a big role in raising. So I connected with you on that. And you said, I'll do anything to provide for them as long as it doesn't put me in jail or hell. And I was like, I could definitely subscribe to that too, right? And my only question for you was, hey, could I do this?
Correct.
Right? And you looked at me and you said, yeah, anyone could. You might have to take out an eyebrow piercing and clean up a little
kinds
bit.
of stuff going on. Yeah.
But like, if you're willing to work, I remember verbatim, but it was something along the line. If you're willing to work your ass off and talk to people, you could do it. But you, I feel like you see things in people before they do. How?
I mean, dude, first of all, like every one of us is built to be great. So part of what I see is everybody's got the vast majority of people have self-limiting beliefs.
Right.
So, and then I try to figure out what skill set do you have? Like in talking to, I realized you're really smart. So I was like, okay, and it wasn't because you were trying to enamor me with the intellectual capacity. We were not talking about, calculus. We weren't talking about World War I because you're a historian. You just could carry on a conversation.
Yeah.
Also knew that somebody raised you right by your posture, the way you looked, the way your mannerisms. I didn't know it was your dad, military. I didn't know any of that. Obviously, I just knew somebody did. And I also knew that here's this young couple that has never seen any real success, and nobody's emulated it for them either. Man, wouldn't it be awesome if they could achieve it? And if I believe in them, they got a better shot than if I don't. And I try to look through people, man, to figure out like that's what I love. Like when I get to see people, and because when you believe in them, and you can point out things about them they've never seen or haven't thought about, and I think that's what a lot of coaches did for me. I think that I had some that didn't care, and that's fine, but I had some that they did care.
Right.
And they were able to point out some of the things about me that was going to make me good at what I chose to do in life. And so, yeah, dude, I'm always – and also part of how I do it, Mike, is I'm not looking for, like, what they can't do. I'm looking for what you can do.
Right.
A lot of people are so negatively based, and I'm just like, dude, I'm looking for what you can do. Okay, those are the things you can't do. Got it. But what could this dude do? Yeah. What could this couple do? Man, it could be amazing.
Right.
And I think I also want to be relatable.
Yeah.
I wanted people to realize that he's just a dude. Like and then I wasn't like, but no matter how successful I got or wasn't, it didn't matter. I treat people the way I wanted them to treat my mom at their jobs. Because I wanted her to be, my mom, her boss, they would, if they, work for thick and fire her, they would demand she could have damn, she could have like literally no days off, finally get 2 days off, be excited after 3 weeks. They could call her an hour before and go, come in. And she's like, she's like, I know, but they're like, no, come in. Like, they didn't ask her. You're coming in. Somebody called out. You're coming in. Like, I could hear the conversations. And I'm like, dude, my mom's a human being. Like, she was excited to have like 2 days with her kids.
Right.
And then she's afraid to say no. She won't lose her job.
Yep.
So I'm like, or it's like, Ma, you got out of work at 4. Where were you? Oh, they held me till 8. And I remember being a kid. I'm like, do they pay you? Like, I was always worried about that shit. I was like, She's like, what do you mean? I work there. And I'm like, I know, but like, you got done at 4. Like, why did you get home at 8:30? Yeah. Well, they didn't really, and they didn't, and then, but they don't really. And I'm like, I don't understand this. And I'm like, dude, I ain't going nowhere unless they pay me.
Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna work my ass off, but I worked at McDonald's. You pay me. Like, if they rounded up 8 minutes, I was like, yo, here's my time card. Why didn't I got shorted 15 minutes. Like, I went to work, dude. I was here. I was flipping burgers. Right. Pay me.
Yeah.
And
one of the things I learned about you early on is everything you asked us to do. And I mean, at this point, you had a team, you had a handful of agents. Whatever you expected us to do, you already did, right? We were talking about this earlier in a meeting about being a mentor, going to, I think you said, like, you've been to the mountaintop. Now let me show you how to get there.
Yeah, I want to bring you.
Yeah. And I think that leads to the creation of Family First Life and where we are now, right? Because this was it wasn't FFL. We were at a different company where we put in a lot of work and got paid a little bit. We got paid, but imagine if we were doing that at this company, how insane it would have been.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a learning experience. We grew from it. But starting this company, early on, we talked about it being the best possible place for a life insurance producer. That was like goal day one. Do you feel like we've achieved that?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Day one, again, one of the best customer experience, the best agent experience. And we got the ability to work somewhere for 5 years. And a lot of things that it lacked.
Yeah.
And so we got to kind of, I always say to people too, when they're like, man, so-and-so wasn't around. I'm like, well, you can learn a lot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can have a dad not being around. You can learn a lot from him.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go, you know what? Some of the things he did, I don't want to do that. And he taught you. Like, no matter what you want to say, he was like, you're like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be that dad.
Yep.
So I think that, I think for us, without a doubt, 'cause we're able to say, all right, let's make sure the agents got great experience with their commission. That it's very aggressive. They get paid really well. Let's give them bonuses. Let's make sure the carriers give them bonuses too. So now on top of that, we're going to be like, hey, carriers, you have money. Give them extra money. Let's make sure that they're the right carrier options.
Yep.
Let's make sure that they run their own business. They own it. They're not under contract. Let's make sure that, they have the greatest ability to build a business, make overrides, make a bonus for doing that. Like, and also let them do what they want to do. Right. Like, within reason. Like, you want to go work this many hours, great. You want to work that. Dude, that's completely up to you. And I think, having watched the beginning when they were trying to tell everybody, first of all, everybody's not going to do the exact same thing.
Right.
And everybody's different. Everybody's got their own stuff. This guy was getting really mad at this guy the other day, and I was like, dude, he's going through this. And he was like, man, I didn't know that. And I'm like, dude, a lot of times people are just going through shit. And it's easy to get mad, but a lot of times they're just going through it. Mm-hmm. And you know what, man, like, you want to, like, have a little grace. So yeah, there's zero doubt we've created the best agent experience, which is why we're by far the biggest in the industry.
Absolutely.
I mean, the bottom line is we wouldn't be doing, we're, I don't know, 8, 9, probably 12 times bigger than anybody that thinks they compete with us.
Right.
So, like, it has to be the greatest agent experience after coming on 12 years here, this many people wouldn't work here.
What's crazy is if you go back to our first year, our first month, we did like $300K in volume. I think we probably
I thought was huge.
Yeah, we were celebrating.
I might have done 90 of it.
Most likely. We probably had, 100 agents maybe?
Maybe.
Do you know how many agents last year were paid at least on one individual policy or more with us?
Is it 40,000?
19,000.
90,000. I doubled up. We should have 40,000.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get there this year.
That's a lot.
But 19,000. And now I get some are part-time, some are full-time. But this next convention, we will have close to 200 people in the Personal Production Hall of Fame.
I know, it's crazy.
We had 0 the first year.
I know, it's crazy. And when we created the Hall of Fame, people thought we were crazy.
Yeah.
Like, carriers were like, nobody's ever going to hit that. I'm like, okay.
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, we'll try. I think we will.
Yeah.
200 people.
Insane. But it goes to that point of it wasn't about just you or me or the people who started. It's bringing that many people with us, which what is it that still drives you to this day? Because financially, you're good. A lot of people you're around are good. Companies kicking ass, but why you still work your ass off?
There are, because dude, there are people who still want to get to the mountaintop.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that started today. There's somebody watching this today, and it's like his first day. And it's like, hey, man, we're already good. See y'all. Good luck. And it doesn't mean we don't have great people around here. We do. It doesn't mean we have phenomenal infrastructure, phenomenal leadership, phenomenal people. If I start naming them, I don't want to leave people out because there's too many great people to name. But, Mike, it's what if somebody had, decided not to, what if Jim had quit the state earlier and decided not to give me that talk?
Right.
What if, John Ellis, he had plenty of money. He was my baseball coach, took me under his wing, real estate, property management. What if he had plenty of money? What if he just stopped working? And what if those people had not encountered them in my life? And they didn't breathe life into me. Yeah. So, and dude, I love it. So like, for me, like, what am I worried about? Like, I enjoy what I'm doing. Doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean it doesn't have its frustrations. It doesn't mean that, but at the end of the day, man, life is really good. And I think, we're here. I do believe for a purpose. I do believe we have a purpose. I do believe we have callings. And I know for me, this is where I've had the most impact. Yeah. And even sitting across the table from you, I'm like, I think about you, your wife, your kids, all the people you're responsible for. And I look at that young man who was high with his rings and his, you know what I mean? With his white tank top on, or what my uncle call him, wife beaters. Like he make fun of people all the time. Like, dude, think about that. Yeah. And now look at you and the amazing family you've raised, and the father you are, the husband you are. Like, that's amazing to me. So I think just trying to level the playing field, man. Help more of us that didn't come from that kind of. I always like to joke with people, like, especially some of the people I looked at properties. They look at me like. I'm like, oh, I might buy yours after I buy mine. Like, I'm still coming. And I just, because they all know each other and they all grew up a certain way, and but I'm like, why can't everybody have the exact same opportunity to achieve in America? And I do believe they can through sales. And obviously I do believe that life insurance sales, I do think everything I've tried, sales is great. So getting sales, getting lead-based sales. Yeah. Don't door knock, don't cold call. If you're door knocking a cold call, quit. Right. And get into something that has leads. But and I think from a replication, duplication standpoint, life insurance has been the best. Yeah.
And on that note, like, on top of everything you do here day in, day out, you're doing sales training. Mm-hmm. You got a weekly group. You got all kinds of stuff you're doing that is above and beyond this, which is awesome, because it's like, it's one thing. I mean, you taught me this years ago. It's one thing to know how to do something, know how to sell. Then it's another step is to teach someone how to sell. Yeah. And then the magic is teaching someone to teach someone how to sell, which is what you're doing with these groups week in and week out. Like, where can everybody go to get more information on that?
Dude, my Instagram page, Shawn Meaike. Yeah. I mean, it's Meaike, so that's not hard to find. And ShawnMeaike.com. Yeah. And the reality is, I also saw people, I came up, they wanted to charge me all this ridiculous money to go to these events. And I'm like, dude, what if we got something that was like a cup of coffee a month? Right. And you can join that. Like, so we started doing stuff to just make it open to more people. Yeah. I coach people in all kinds of industries, and I love doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of good feedback. At least I've heard. I mean, we had Ronnie on last week. Ronnie Salem was talking about how much it's impacted his team. Dude, he went from $600K. We had him up last year. $600K a month he was doing. Man. This year he's doing $4 million a month.
That's unbelievable, dude.
Insane.
He's a machine. He's an absolute machine. He's a worker. Loves his team. Did a grand opening with him. His family was there. Just watching the kids run around, and his parents and his wife. It's cool to watch. Yeah.
It's awesome. And I mean, I think that's a lot. I think I speak for a lot of us. It's probably the best thing about what we do is seeing how many individuals we impact. Like, I talk about that with the staff here when we meet. Like, you see your job is you're processing contracts, you're doing this, you're doing that. But you don't understand that this small staff of less than 30 people, we're supporting 20,000 plus agents that are out there.
Which also, I think that's a testament to what y'all do, because when you run it leaner, there's more money for the agents, there's more bonus money. I think I see a lot of people where they'll have an office of, there are people that do, if we do $800 million there, so there are people that do $30 million a year that have 200 employees. Yeah. And they have it just to have it. It's like, a big show.
Do?
I know, but it's and then it cuts into what the agent could get.
Correct.
and I know they get, they have to get office space in this building in this street, and it costs this much. I'm like, dude, we just want to make sure the agents do really well. And client, I mean, again, can't hurt the agent, can't hurt the client. It's got to be good for the agent, got to be good for the client, can't hurt the company. A lot of people don't do it that way. They're like, what if it hurts this one? No. It's got to be great for the agent, great for the client or the customer. Great for the independent contractor, and it can't harm the company.
Right. Absolutely.
So if you look at it that way, you can be very successful.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, dude. I think I speak for everyone with us as a whole. We appreciate everything you do day in and day out.
Appreciate what you do. God is great, bro. All the glory to him, and it's amazing to be here.
Absolutely. And guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Drop us some comments. Check out Shawn's content on his Instagram, ShawnMeaike.com. And, I mean, the beauty about sales is it doesn't discriminate. Beauty about this business, it doesn't discriminate. You don't need a special degree or a background. Matter of fact, a lot of times we prefer you don't.
No
but it
talent,
can be
dude.
whatever you want it to be.